Right guys, sorry about that. For those of you just joining back, I see a few of you starting to join back now onto the stream. Slight hitch with the settings being incorrect, so apologies from the hosts of this evening's event. So we'll be up and running again in a couple of moments' time. Just waiting for all the drivers to get back within the lobby. And after a really nice introduction to everyone, I think we'll run through it a little bit more through the actual broadcast this time. Now, obviously, it's going to take a little while to get everyone back up to date and joined back into the lobby. I think we're up to 11 at the minute. Still a few drivers to rejoin at this moment in time. We've got about 3-4 minutes before we do go racing once again. So in terms of today's times, then at 1:22.109, as we mentioned earlier, from Max Verstappen, is the pole lap from 2021. That then obviously he went on to take a very controversial victory in Abu Dhabi. Lewis Hamilton, however, does still hold the record for 5 wins. And so that is still very much his highest number, and Max Verstappen there on 2 wins and Sebastian Vettel on 3 wins. They are the only 3 drivers to in fact win a Grand Prix at Abu Dhabi as well, so yeah, definitely quite interesting as a stat goes, saying that all 3 drivers are still racing currently. And yeah, sorry, just trying to get a few things in place ready for the restart. Obviously, we're only just seeing the first laps go out for qualifying, so it will be a full start to the session. There's no grid or anything set at this point. So as far as anyone else is concerned, is the full session upcoming. There we are then, we're in good stead now, just checking in with everyone, and yeah, it seems to be that everyone's loaded in or loading in as we speak, so 2 or 3 minutes and we'll be away. Looking through the drivers' standings, we've actually got 28 people on the standings. That's due to 20 drivers plus a selection of reserve drivers that we're seeing through the season as well. Obviously, not everyone can commit week in, week out. Everyone has personal needs. So in the top 3, 2 of those are in fact reserve drivers coming into the season. Jimmy at the top of the table on 91 points, 21 points clear of Donarjun. They're on 2 wins apiece. Dan Murphy is a reserve driver as well, in 3rd place on 63 points with 1 win, and then I am Zach on 62 points on 2 wins as well. That is the 7 wins there, so 3 of them on 2, Dan Murphy on 1 win. That is the winners so far for this season. Actually, race 8 of a 12 race calendar season, and hopefully we'll be underway sooner than later. Just waiting for the host to ready up, so pretty much ignore everyone else. We're just waiting for Pro Stevie to rejoin the lobby, and then we will be back underway. Heard there's a few out with various personal reasons and work commitments this week, so sadly a few drivers are missing for today. Optics, I understand your frustration there. It's typical. I mean, we've been through it as league owners ourselves. We know how heartbreaking it is to have a restart, and it certainly messes everything up. But hey, hopefully on the back of it we'll have an absolutely brilliant race to bring you in a couple of minutes' time. And Optics, as you're the one speaking to me on the drop-down chat at the moment, Red Bull on 72 points, just 2 points in front of AlphaTauri, who are on 70, and Williams are 1 point behind that on 69. So as Red Bull's reserve driver for the evening, you have got quite some work to do to keep the AlphaTauris and Williams teams behind you. I'm Zach, obviously, with 2 wins to his name as well, so he's going to be one to keep an eye on through this session. Alex Hammond, AlphaTauri, is loaded in as well. Looking for... We're actually missing one Williams and AlphaTauri. So it's only one Williams, AlphaTauri and Red Bull apiece. So that battle really could be quite entertaining. Both Mercedes are in... No, they're not. Only one Mercedes in at the moment as well. And Alfa Romeo just 10 points behind in the Constructors. That really could be a turning point in the Constructors. If it goes in Mercedes' way this evening, Jimmy took a very last minute pole position last time out when we followed him last, so it'll be interesting to do it again. Jimmy and Donovan, there are probably 2 pole contenders this evening. If I had to put a bet out, it'll be one of the 2. Spencer, actually we've got both AlphaTauris back in now, brilliant, as Spencer now joins the party. Sorry for the slight delay, guys. I know there's a few of you watching waiting to get on, but we are now about to get underway as we ready up for this evening's session. Once again, this time with the correct session settings. So apologies from the organisers, but we are now underway and heading in the right direction for qualifying. Right, 10 seconds to the start of the session. Obviously, the couple of moments then for the drivers to put their selected setups on for this track. Every driver will have a slightly different setup that suits them best, and we'll see who is quickest with their own arrangements in 18 minutes' time as we go green and the countdown begins for qualifying. Who's the first car going to be out then? We'll sit on board again. It was Optics last time. Let's have a look who is going to be first out, and we're going to ride on board with for their initial lap. Obviously, first car out will set the initial pace. If they can keep it within the lines and keep a valid lap on the way around. In fact, I do think it is Optics once again heading out first. It certainly is. So we'll ride on board with the Red Bull driver once again. If this was in fact a actual race, Red Bull would be loving it and their sponsors would be loving it, because every minute on air is more money the sponsors give to the team, obviously for broadcasting rights. So I'm sure they'd actually love this in real lifetime, going back and following the same driver out once again. A few cars starting to come out on medium tyres. Rudy in the Aston Martin and Spencer in the AlphaTauri there. set to medium tyres for their initial run. It looks like we've got a Ferrari in the background of KXI. It's sat 5th in the championship at the minute, 59 points, just 3 behind Zach in 4th and 4 points behind Dan Murphy in 3rd. Now, Dan Murphy is not in tonight's race, so good opportunity here for KXI to move on up through the order, and if he can outscore Zach by 3 points this evening, will not only jump 1 place but 2 up to 3rd place in the driver's standings with 4 rounds left to go after this. This will be the 2/3 mark in this championship and season 9 of Dragon Force Racing League. So we see Optics in the Red Bull coming through under the hotel and about to come round onto his first flying lap. Let's see what the initial pace is going to be then. See, round the final corner to start his lap, and very smooth entry and exit from that corner. Certainly wins you a couple of tenths here and there just by keeping it nice and smooth. Sector 1, very technical, believe it or not, to keep it in the lines, riding up to the curves, and around he goes as he just rides a little bit too much of a curve. As I was saying, it is actually quite a technical circuit for what it looks like, and that is why you've got to watch the curbs in that first section, and round Optics goes. So we'll ride on board with the Ferrari then of KXI. We spoke earlier, he's got a good opportunity tonight to jump up in the drivers' standings for the season, so let's see what his initial pace is. Just going down the back straight, and the first of the DRS zones, DRS wide open then of Optics will obviously get well out of the way. Looks like an AlphaTauri up the road as well, but I'm sure they'll also get out of the way. I think it is Alex Ham preparing for his lap. I think he's that far ahead that it won't make much odds, and DRS again for the second time in the lap. Just 2 DRS zones at Yas Marina circuit. And again, purple second sector, but obviously the first person to complete a valid sector 2. And very nice sequence of corners taken very nicely by KXI there as we head down and around to the hotel. Personally, an area I tend to struggle with on the curves, but being done very, very well here. And Optics in more trouble by the looks of it. Whether he's just getting out of the way or whether he's had a bit of a slip there, I don't know, but we'll catch up with him a little bit later on as we watch the Ferrari come around the final corner. What is the initial pace going to be? It is a 1:36.2 for the initial pace from KXI for this evening's Grand Prix. Now we've got one of the Alpines in the background. It is the other Alpine in the background, in fact, and it was NX Josh, and he went for a 36.6 on that initial lap, so 4 tenths off the pace currently, as we join Don Argent, who is in fact on an invalidated lap, so we'll grab on with him a little bit later. Rudy in the Aston Martin takes provisional pole in a 1:35.6, so 6 tenths clear in fact of the Ferrari at this moment in time. Let's talk about Kimi then. Kimi and Viper, they're both consistent drivers. However, the pace isn't quite with the league pack. Solidly midfield. You'd normally see them on a full grid around 13th, 14th on the grid, around that particular area, and fighting it out. But both McLarens do tend to have fairly equal pace and run around together. Currently sat on the bottom of the standings, but with fewer drivers in this evening, good opportunity for the McLaren team to get some points on the board. A 1:37.8 there for Kimi on the provisional lap, 1.2 off Zenix Josh, next car up the road as it stands. Okay, what have we got? We've got one of the Ferraris coming up to the line. It will be the other Alpine, if I can find him, is on an in-lap. So yeah, KC will be the next one to go over the line. Let's ride on board with the Alpine driver as we go through this final section. And KC hoping a little bit more luck going his way again. He's had a little bit of luck in the last couple of races he's been involved in various leagues, but overall not been a fantastic start to the year. He's been caught up in a lot of dramas. 1:36.6 initial pace from Casey today, so both Alpines running 3rd and 4th within 0.02 of a second of each other. Okay then, so Viper, the second of the McLarens, just about to come around the final corner. Let's see what he can do in comparison to his teammate on this occasion. A 1:37.3, so half a second up on his teammate at the moment, and certainly looking to be the lead driver for this evening as it stands. Don Elgin then in the Alfa Romeo on another invalidated lap. Surely he's going to come off those tyres now, or perhaps this is his way of saying this is my practice for the race. His fuel light certainly isn't blinking yet, so maybe he's fueled up on purpose for this extra couple of runs. But you wouldn't want to be starting on tyres that are that old. Let's have a look then. Let's go both AlphaTauris then in the final part of the sector. So Spencer on the medium tyre, coming round the penultimate corner now and cutting it completely. So we'll ride on board with his teammate, who is also on the invalidated lap, and bailing out. So not going so well for the AlphaTauri duo at this moment in time. So we'll catch up with them a little bit later. Jimmy then, we said he's got an outside chance today. Well, I say an outside chance. He's probably got the best chance out of everyone. He's currently leading the championship on 91 points, 21 points clear, and has had, if I'm not mistaken, I apologise if I'm wrong, I believe 4 out of the 7 races have been on pole position. I will try and get that clarified by flicking through in the meantime. Looks like he's got a little bit of traffic from the McLaren in front, but shouldn't give him any issues at all as he enters the final corner. What is this going to be? Will it be a new provisional pole? It is a 35.1, half a second faster than the Aston Martin driver managed earlier on in the session, and that is quite a benchmark now being set for the Mercedes driver. Who we got then? Spencer again on another invalidated lap. Let's see who else is out and about. Optics then, just coming around the final corner. He is on a lap. It is a 1:36.4 and pops him up into 4th place. So he's managed a lap now on new soft tyres there. So good to see on this occasion that he's managed a lap time. Is that Casey on a flyer? It is. And is this the Alpine team looking after each other, giving each other the tow? It certainly is. That is Josh giving Casey the tow up the second DRS zone. A little bit of a advantage from the slipstream. Obviously DRS wide open as well. Let's see what Casey can do. That should buy him a couple of tenths if he was in the right position and got a good exit in the first place by the distance to his teammate. I'm sure he did, as we see him come under the hotel for this lap. It's looking like a good lap at the minute. 1:25 at the moment. The clock's still ticking. What can he make it over the line as he has a little bit of a wobble out of the penultimate corner? Just riding a little bit too much of the curve. That could cost him. He does improve ever slightly. A 1:36.3, 3/10 improvement there from Casey in the Alpine. Now, is he going to do the same for his teammate who is now behind him? We'll keep an eye on that as they go through his first sector. I do want to see if they actually see this team game through, Casey and Zenix Josh there. It does look like Zenix Josh is on a good lap. Purple first sector, and he's going to get very, very distant tow from his teammate here, but on the next straight he should get a absolutely brilliant tow if Casey realises what is going on. I'm sure he does. He doesn't want to impede his teammate though either, as Casey takes to the corner and gets well out of the way. Yeah, he doesn't want to be involved in ruining his teammate's lap. There you go, and Josh just looking for a bit of a tow. So teammates trying to give each other a little bit of a helping hand, which is quite nice to see, as Josh goes purple in the second sector as well, and he invalidates through the S's, and he's out of the qualifying session after a superb team tactic there and not paying off. 1:36.642 is his best, and that will not be improved on this occasion. Gutting to see actually. With that time he was looking, well, he could have taken a pole position. He was purple first and second sectors at that point. I'm Zach then. Not seen anything from him yet. This is medium tyre territory, and no one has qualified a time on the mediums so far. So let's see what he can do. He's won 2 races this season so far at the 7 Grand Prix that have been held. Williams are in a midfield fight as well with Red Bull and AlphaTauri, so very important to score crucial points. Purple second sector there for the Williams driver. A little bit of a wobble where we've just seen Zenix Josh go off and into the barriers, but managed to keep hold of it. Might just scrub a 10th or 2 in doing that though. And again, heading through the hotel section. Absolutely beautiful section of track this around the marina. Nice and tight into the curb and through the final corner. What is the time on the board? 1:36.2 puts him up into 4th place for the time being on the medium tyre. That gives him a huge advantage going into the race if he can stay there. There's opportunity that a few drivers might just pip him and obviously improve their own times, but looking very, very good for the Williams driver at this moment in time. Don Arjun then we're going to jump back on board with. He's in the 3rd sector as we rejoin. It looked like a purple sector 2. He is on the soft tyre. You'd expect him to go quicker on that soft tyre. And we did say, or I did say, should I say, that Jimmy, PSV and Don Arjun, they are the guys that I'd expect to be fighting for pole position this evening. And so far it certainly looks like it is going that way. Let's have a look what the Alfa Romeo driver does though in response, and he does take a provisional pole, 1:34.7 and 3.5 tenths clear then of the Mercedes driver. Alfa Romeo on top. Optics just starting a lap, so we'll catch up with him in a little while. It looks like we've got one of the Mercedes McLaren's out, sorry, and it's an invalidated lap. Okay then, so we've got both AlphaTauris running together. Spencer has taken a little trip off the road there, so I'm sure he's either just getting out of the way for his teammate, potentially giving him a tow. I don't know, we'll find out a little bit later on. But Alex Ham at the moment looking to get a time on the board in the first of the 2 AlphaTauris as he's coming through the final couple of corners. And yeah, final corner nice and tidy, using all the runoff. Again, got to be very careful on that runoff. And 1:35.6, so a lot more getting in the 35s now. Just 600ths off Rudy in 3rd place as it stands in the Aston Martin. I don't know whether he's going to have time to go again by the time he gets around into pits. I don't think he would. I don't think he's going to risk using any more of this tyre up, so I'd expect we will see this as the best position from him. Optics, as we just go to see how he's getting on, seems to be well and truly off the off the circuit, so we'll catch up with him a little bit later. I'm sure he needs a minute just to get his thoughts together. Kean Stevens then, as we just see him invalidate. I was just about to go through. He's had some immense drives lately, but qualifying not going his way at the moment. 3:28 and counting on the clock for the Red Bull driver on medium tyres, but no lap time yet set, so he's really only got one more crack at this to get a lap time on the board, which I'm presuming he'll go straight onto a lap now, because if he did come into the pits he would not get around, would he? Maybe he is. He's coming into the pits, so it'll be in a very, very quick turnaround he's got to have here. Straight onto the soft tyre, you'd presume, and out, and he's getting held up by his teammate being pushed in. Optics is just getting pushed into the pits, no fault of their own, but he is going to get held here, and this might cost him while he's waiting for his crew to come and get him back into the pit lane. 2 minutes 40 left. It's a 1:40 lap on an out lap. It's going to be incredibly tight here for Kean Stevens to get back out and get a lap on the board. We will keep an eye out to see. Alright, let's catch up with the McLaren duo then. So Viper is on a lap, going down the 2nd of the DRS straights as he crossed the sector time there. He is a 10.5 up on his best so far, as Jimmy retakes top spot, 1:34.5. We did miss that one going round, but So those guys at the top, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to challenge for that. Donarjun cannot respond. He's in the pit lane. It is too late for him to come out now to respond to that. So I do think that is him done for this session. As we see Viper there just invalidate. So we're going to jump on to the other McLaren of Kimi. And Kimi currently 2/10 behind his teammate, but on 2-lap used tyres. So realistically this could be an in-lap, but he's pushing like it's a race lap and he's invalidated. So there we are then, no improvement there. Casey just about to start his final attempt for the evening as he crosses the line to start a lap. So we'll catch up with Casey very shortly. KXI then, is that... looks like he's going a bit slow there. No, he is going for it. Jimmy's not on a lap, we don't think. No, so give it a little bit of toe there to KXI, which is quite surprising considering it's one of his rivals for the championship, and KXI are never counts out. KXI, how can I explain, is a little bit like Carlos Sainz. He'll sit there in the background, score you the points. I think Pierre Gasly would be the best one to compare him against. He'll sit there, grab the points, but no one seems to recognise him. But I tell you what, the last few races that I've watched, KXI's been there or thereabouts, and in the race, just been very, very clever with strategy, and that is what has got him to where he is today, and up to 5th in the driver's standings. So he did improve his time by 25 thousandths of a second, but doesn't see an improvement in grid position there then. So Casey Jennett is on a lap. Who else? We've got one of the Red Bulls coming towards the line. It is the other Red Bull. Let's try and find him. Keon Stevens. And is he going to get over the line in time to start his lap? We said it was going to be close. He gets over the line to start a lap within 2 seconds of the checkered flag coming out for the end of qualifying. So he has got time to go around the lap. Right, let's watch these final times fly in then. Casey Jennett coming around the final part of the lap. Can he improve? A 1:36.3 at the moment, and he validates on the final corner there. It would have been a 35.9, which would have moved him up into 5th place, and just running the track limits on the final corner there. Kimi then coming around the penultimate corner on very, very used soft tyres here. I'm surprised he's kept running these, because he will have to start the Grand Prix on them as well. If he gets into the top 10, he does. He gets into the top 10, and that could be a killer for Kimi, starting on 4-lap used soft tyres if someone doesn't bump him out. Spencer and Keon are on laps at the moment. Spencer is round. He's crashed out of qualifying just before the line. Can't believe it. Just as we go to catch him, his teammate, however, improved up to 4th position now. 1:35.6. In fact, I think that was his initial lap. Optics then just coming over the line. Does he improve his time? He certainly does. A 1:35.8. That's a 6.5 improvement. That's a great improvement. And where is his teammate? Just coming around the penultimate corner. Keon without a time on the board. What is this time going to be? It is a 1:36.1. Moves him up. So Red Bull 5th and 6th. And looking like a strong combination there for the race this evening, and that does knock both McLarens just outside of the top 10, and I think Kimi will be quite relieved of that, considering the 4-lap use on those soft tyres. We had to start on that as well. That might be a crucible of fire in the opening few laps, but there we are. Qualifying is over once again. We did estimate that Jimmy and Donarjun would be the contenders for pole position, and look at the sheer margin from those guys. Pole position then 1 second clear from 3rd place, and 2/10 in it at the top there. You must say though, Rudy in P3 starting in the Aston Martin is on the medium tyre as well, so tyre strategy really going in his favour now for the Grand Prix. And I'm Zach there in 8th place as well on the medium tyres. Everyone else will be on the softs in the top 10, and then beyond they will get tyre choice, obviously, going into the Grand Prix. In terms of strategy then, the hard tyre is absolutely horrible to run here. So best strategy, weirdly, is actually a 2-stop. and I think we'd expect to see most drivers go for a 2-stop, which would be a soft, medium, medium for the front runners starting on the softs. Those starting on the on the medium, sorry, in the front. So I think we could see them go for a 1-stop and go for the hards, but they aren't a very nice tyre to drive around this particular track for many. So we will see what happens. It also very much depends on any safety cars that we might have throughout the session, as well as we just have a 30-second break while the drivers make sure their strategies are complete and they're happy on their tyres and fuel loads going into the Grand Prix. So then we've got the formation lap underway, so we'll just give these guys a lap to get their tyres up to temperature. So we go back down the order then, so we'll be able to see all the tyres from this point of view. So Jimmy on pole position once again, the Alfa Romeo in his wing mirrors once again. These two very used to running side by side now. Rudy in the Aston Martin in P3 on those medium tyres. Let's see what he can do in terms of race pace. Can he stick with these guys? Obviously, he was a second off the pace. However, the deficit is 9/10 of a second to the soft tyre. So, does put him right in the ballpark when he was on the same tyre comparison. Alex Ham in 4th place then in the lead of the two AlphaTauris. Optics in 5th and Kean in 6th in the Red Bulls respectively. Both reserve drivers for this evening jumping in there, so quite interesting to see Red Bull right up there. Cakeside then in 7th place, and he'll be looking to get past these reserve guys pretty quickly and try and dispatch as many as he can, but he'll also be looking for his strategies once again. We'd expect I'm Zach in 8th place in the Williams, and it's the one and only Williams for this evening. Casey Jennett in 9th, and teammate Zenex Josh in 10th place for the Alpine team. Zenex Josh has decided he just wants to go for a little bit of a fly. Kimi in 11th, followed by the other McLaren in 12th. So we're a little bit 2x2 in terms of a couple of these teams today. Mikey in the 2nd of the Alfa Romeos, down in 13th place there. Teammate in 2nd place. So a little bit off his teammate, and no time set in qualifying, so it is not a representative position at the minute. So watch this space for Mike coming through the field. Spencer Milton then in 14th place in the AlphaTauri, Frenzy in P15, and Pro Stevie, final car on the grid, is P16. Not a clue what's going on with that Mercedes, by the way, for anyone who wants to ask that question. I can't tell you because I genuinely am baffled because I don't know. I am genuinely hoping that this is not going to be a restart. There is the pit strategy, by the way. Soft, medium, medium, 2-stop, as we suspected earlier on. I do have a bad feeling this is going towards a restart for the Grand Prix. Yeah, so Pro Stevie joined a weird time. It's his car's doing weird things, so you just have to bear with it a couple of moments. There you go. So Pro Stevie has left the session, so it should mean that the stray car will disappear in a couple of moments' time. Pro Stevie joined the grid a little bit late, and it completely it's messed with Codemaster's fantastic engineering of the game, as per usual. It is up to something, no, I'll tell you that much. In fact, it's actually the Grand Prix has actually gone away. So these guys have started. I think Pro Stevie didn't actually get the opportunity to start that Grand Prix, and we didn't get a little bit of countdown there. But hey ho, let's get into it then. And Alex Ham making a dash up into third place past Rudy on those medium tyres in the first couple of corners. The Red Bulls still side by side. In fact, they have inverted position, so Keon has taken 5th place away from his teammate Optics for the time being, as they will come down the straight. Let's have a look. Can't see anything else overly busy going on. Both McLarens getting off to a good start there. Kimi up 3 places and Viper up 2 places there. Who has lost out? KXI is the biggest loser, and Casey Jennett both lost 6 and 5 places there for the loss. That's quite extensive. Interesting to watch. Just want to ride on board and check Pro Stevie's actually in his car driving now. I'm not overly convinced that's him driving. Looks a little bit like a yeah, so Pro Stevie, just for confirmation, is not driving his car. It is the case that his car is now in automated. Let's have a little look what's going on here then. A front wing end plate and a wing change for the Alpine, and I think it is the same there for KXI as well. Both drives into the pit lane, and Keon Stevens as well. 3 drivers in the pits already. Up the front then, all changed. Donald John has taken the lead of Grand Prix. Do apologise again in the mess of the first lap we've just had. I did not catch that, and I do apologise. Alex Ham up to 3rd place, Rudy in 4th place, Optics into 5th place as his teammate went into the pits. Not sure what caused the damage on there, so be quite interesting to see. Rudy is looking at a potential move and makes the move on Alex Ham. Can he make it stick on the brakes down at the end of the DRS zone, although DRS is not open at this moment in time, and the AlphaTauri driver having to be very careful there not to go into the back of the Aston Martin. Can he get a better drive than the Aston Martin? And no, he can't, in fact, even on those soft tyres. And Rudy through to P3. So 3rd, 4th and 5th all sat where they started. I'm Zach up to 6th place then, and Mikey working his way through the field now up to 7th place, and fighting there it seems. Optics is around. What has happened to Optics in that moment there? He's still got his front wing. Maybe it is just a little bit of a spin there, but all the way back down to 11th, 12th, and he's round again on the curbs. I do think he's had a spin and heated up those rear tyres. It seems has he cost himself any damage? No, he hasn't. Can he salvage them tyres? I think he'd be silly not to come and get a fresh set of mediums now. Could do a 2-stop from here, medium, and time penalty already for Kimi there. And wow, the grid is all over the place. We're not expecting this. Jimmy down to P10 and dropping. What is going on? It's absolutely bizarre. I would presume he's had a spin. He's still got everything intact. Pro Stevie there is Jimmy's teammate, obviously not in control of his car and won't be for the rest of the session. But Jimmy is now all the way down. Donald John is running away with it. He now got 2-second gap to Rudy, as Rudy is gifted P2 on those medium tyres, and he's thinking, well, this strategy of his is working perfectly in his favour right now. What battles have we got on track then? Zenix, Josh then, coming up and around the outside of the McLaren of Kimi, and well, he's made that stick with DRS before they get into the braking zone, and round he goes, and up into 5th place for the Alpine driver for the time being. One Alpine in 5th, Casey Jennett just making a place on Kate's side there at the very back. It looked like that was under DRS through the first part of the DRS as well. Kimi getting back past, and these guys really are fighting it out and trying to give it everything but keeping it clean for the time being. And McLaren and Alpine go for it, and Kimi is round. Is he out of the race? He is, and what a hit that was. That is how dangerous these curbs are, that final section. It is a yellow flag. Will it be a safety car? You certainly would expect some form of safety car for that incident. As you see, drivers already pitting. They've seen the incident. They were hoping for a safety car, presumably. Safety car's not come out. In fact, that is a wing change there for Mikey as we ride on board. Very odd indeed. Not sure what has caused that for the Alpha driver. But Kimi is now out of this Grand Prix. Yellow flags still only being shown in that section, and yellow flags are cleared. Track goes back green once again. So that is one driver down from the race so far. Just a word to the wise, Viper, I say his consistency is good, but he's now running in 6th place in the McLaren. So excellent work by Viper on those opening laps. It looks like he's going to come under a little bit of pressure here from the Mercedes, but he's also going to get past the ghosted Mercedes as well in the meantime. And Jimmy fighting with his own teammate's Ghost, which is causing him problems here in this Grand Prix. So I don't think he's going to be overly impressed about that one when he gets back. Okay, let's see what we got. So Frenzy in the Aston Martin then on the medium compound tyre. Now, obviously Jimmy had to qualify on that tyre. Frenzy has not. So his medium compound tyres fresh from the start. So 4 lap old, just about to turn 5 lap old. Compared to Jimmy's 6-7 lap old soft tyres. So those softs are soon going to drop off, which will free up a little bit of track space for Frenzy. Last thing that Frenzy wants now is a safety car. In fact, he wants it to go long. He wants to go to around lap 12-13, where these soft runners cannot drive anymore. Would have had to already pit, and then he'll be wanting a safety car, which will play into his hands perfectly as he does a personal best in Sector 1. Let's ride on board with Zach then. Looks like he's lining up the AlphaTauri for a pass. He has got DRS as well. He hasn't got DRS. I do apologise. I don't know how he's got so close with that DRS there then, which is very unusual, but he will have DRS now, and DRS wide open. Is Alex Ham far enough ahead? I don't think he is. It could be quite tight under braking, and in fact that was a little bit easy from Alex, letting Zach through there, but Zach through into 3rd place. Now Zach has won 2 races this season already. Donald Jun has won 2 races so far this season, and the only other person to win races this season was Jimmy, who is currently in P7. So Zach really could have had a great run of this from the start. Viper now battling with Pro Stevie's Ghost still, and so next Josh there picking up a 3-second time penalty for running the curbs too many times. Right then, let's look down the back of the grid. We've got Casey with a red X above his name, which is very odd indeed. No, he's back, he's rejoined. There we go. And round his teammate you go. What is going on? Oh, there we go. Zenix Josh without a front wing there. Okay, that would explain it. So Zenix Josh picked the 3-second time penalty. That might be because he's had a little bit of spin by the looks of it, and is now needing a front wing change. But Casey Jennett rejoins and is now up in front of the Ferrari driver. Right then, further up the field, what have we got? We've got Jimmy looking to get past his teammates still, who then he can then try and dispatch the McLaren of Viper. who is at the minute scoring more points than McLaren have had all season long. So that would be quite something to score. Optic saying his tyres were still hot at that point. Yeah, I can bloody well believe it as well for spinning them up. But there we are. So Jimmy trying to close that gap to Viper. He won't get past in this instance, but he's around. In fact, he makes a mistake, and that is completely his own fault. He is maybe he's having an off day. Every driver has that day, but it looks like he really is struggling today. And when he was just about lining up the McLaren for a pass, he sees himself back down to 8th place. And is that Spencer in the background? It is the AlphaTauri of Spencer Milton in the background. Mikey getting past KXI there, further down the field as well. We'll try and keep on board with all these little battles as we go. Got my voice hurt, so we're only 7 laps in. As a quarter of the way through this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and well, we've got many more years to come. It's always been a controversial race for respects. 2016 Hamilton and the way that he drove to try and back Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen into Nico Rosberg to try and prevent Nico winning the championship, which obviously did not work on that occasion. And then the safety car call from Michael Massey last year, and obviously that crowned Max Verstappen the winner of the championship. So 2 very controversial weekends that we've seen at Abu Dhabi in time so far, in just 10 races there. And yeah, Spencer not getting any closer for the time being, but we are going to jump up to the front of the field where Rudy has closed in on Don Arjun. Now, the Alfa Romeo driver did start on soft tyres and qualified on them. However, Rudy started and qualified on these medium tyres, and have they now come into their own? Will he now push to get clear air, do an extra lap, and then box and look for track position here and try the overcut? There we go, the Alfa Romeo is into the pits looking for the undercut. The Aston Martin driver is released. Let's see what he can do on this lap, and we'll ride on board through the back end, see if he does pit in and take the bait, or whether he's going to go long and go for the one stop onto the hard tyre. Let's have a little look at the tyre situation for the time being. There we are, graphics up, and Donald shouldn't go on to the mediums yet, so it is going to be a 2-stop for the Alfa Romeo driver. Alex Ham there also taking a pit stop, as well as Optics there in. Yeah, let's have a look where they're going to come out. In fact, Optics has not got much of a gap behind. He's going to drop quite a way down because of his spin earlier on, but then he does have quite a few cars still to stop around him. In fact, looking at strategies, I think only Spencer Milton is in the window for pit stops for the time being. Although he looks like he's a long way up the road, it looks like he's only, although if he only goes one more stop, yeah, it could be a very interesting, long, arduous race for Optics now, looking at positioning, but we'll see how he gets on through the Grand Prix. He should make it back into the bottom end of the points at minimum, but we'll see how that goes for him. Kean Stevens just been passed by Mikey. It looks like them both having a little bit of a tussle still as they go round and head up into the second DRS zone. Safety car is released, and Kean Stevens, 5-second time penalty there for clipping the back of Mikey. I don't think that was classified as a severe incident. Now, what has caused it? It is Zenix Josh who's caused the safety car. So we're going to ride on board with Casey and just try and find where Josh's stricken car is. There we go, so those... Has that just cost him his front wing? All these drivers pretty much sitting on top of each other. Absolutely bizarre. Now Optics pit one lap earlier, and you know what, that has worked absolute wonders for the Red Bull driver. He's up to 7th place. We said he was going to have a little bit of a struggle without any help, but the safety car, that certainly helps. It was the Alpino's NX Josh, and the Alpine's really not having a good day of it. One out and one in the way of Casey Jennett, a lap down, and he won't be able to is he a lap down? 1 minute 2? That time difference sounds very odd indeed. We'll catch up with that shortly. Got to just try and get my bearings to how that's a minute time gap from where he is now. To leaders that would make sense, but not to the car in front it wouldn't. So we'll keep an eye on that while I try and work it out myself. Oh no, right, okay, so Casey is in traffic, and yeah, it would be a minute 2 round to the Red Bull of Kian Sim, so he has in fact been lapped due to earlier incidents. And there we are, the safety car and leaders. So Rudy is in the lead at this point on fresh soft tyres. That is his change of compound, so presumably we'll be going soft, and then see how his soft tyres hold out. Probably take him as long as possible, see if he can get another fresh set of soft tyres at the end of the Grand Prix. Don Argent in the Alfa Romeo then in 2nd place on the mediums, and now looking to go long, and maybe a fresh set of softs for the end of the Grand Prix at this point would be a good hit. I'm Zach in 3rd place again on the soft tyre. I think those on the mediums now are probably looking like medium soft strategy, with the safety car just to eke out their mediums for a little while longer. You wouldn't want them to be pitting until around lap 20 really, to take your softs then to the end with a little bit of comfortability, but we'll see how these drivers get on with the fuel loads in their cars. Obviously it does get easier on tyre wear as the race progresses and you burn that fuel off. Okay, then 4th place, Alex Ham in the AlphaTauri, and pretty much where he started. Been very, very quiet so far. Prestivi, please ignore, he is not actually in his car, it is an AI'd car. So yeah, we had a slight issue with his car joining the grid late earlier on. McLaren of Viper then in 6th place. Absolutely phenomenal start, and it was a question of being in the right place at the right time, and it is paying off so far. McLaren so far this season in 7 races have only scored 7 points. This is race 8, and currently he's on for 8 points. So I know it's a little bit far-fetched, but the opportunity is there to score some points today for McLaren and the one and only remaining McLaren driver. Optics then into P7, and safety car really has helped him back into this Grand Prix after a hard start, and overheating his tyres after a bit of a spin. Is now well on his way on his medium tyres. I'm sure he'll also be looking for one more stop to the end of the Grand Prix, unless he can do something special and drag these out. Frenzy in P8, Jimmy in P9, all the way from pole position, having an absolutely shocking race. I really do feel for the guy, but something just isn't going right for him this evening. Spencer rounding out the top 10 for the time being. 14 cars left in it then. Only one penalty on the board for Keon Stevens, and that is very, very questionable. That may well get removed by the stewards. And there we go, we're just waiting for Rudy to go. He has in fact gone very, very early indeed. He is away. There we go. Those soft tyres he's going to try and use to pull a little bit of a gap over his rival in the Alfa Romeo behind, as he uses all the runoff at turn 1 and gets a 3-second time penalty for good measure there. So that certainly won't help him in his bid for the victory this evening. Try and see what's going on further down the field. Frenzy suddenly dropping a few places there and being looked at again by Mikey. A little bit of a train going on here, as you see all the cars so close together after that restart. Is Ferrari there just getting a slightly better exit as well than Mike's KXI on the charge, and not able to do anything about it at this moment in time. Frenzy just up ahead, and KXI right on the back there, and Mikey really pushing to get through. Got such a good exit as well. We're going to ride on board with the Ferrari driver as we expect to see him swoop around the outside. Can he do anything in the braking zone? No, he can't at this moment in time, and he has to just yield off for the time being. All these cars nice and close now after that safety car release. Great safety car restart for our leader, taking 7/10 out of the car behind, but obviously the soft tyre advantage now he really does need to use. Opportunity there for the Alfa Romeo to go to the end of Grand Prix, although I highly doubt that is going to be the case. And Rudy there, 1:37.6, and fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far posted. Right, let's see what battles we've got. So Mikey is closing in on Frenzy. Every driver is close together. Jimmy is getting close to the back of the Red Bull of Optics then. I think this is now the closest battle on track for the time being. Apologies if it isn't. There's that many close battles going on. It's absolutely insane. And there you go. Mercedes trying to get a little bit better drive there, but I think the Red Bull got a better drive off the hairpin and just moving around a little bit to try and disturb the flow for Jimmy. I don't think anyone needs to disturb the flow for Jimmy tonight after the performance we've had so far. And that is a lunge and a half, and that is... well, that is very bad, Jimmy, if you want to put it that way. It's cost himself no end of time in the end there anyway. Has Optics got damage from that? These cars all coming down together. There's definitely front wing from someone gone missing. I can't quite tell who it is. What on earth is going on? Right, Noah's dived into the pits for a new nose, which is impressive considering I know one of them has lost a front wing end plate. So, just to try and sum up what we've just seen, because that was absolute carnage, so I just thought I'd let it speak for itself. Mikey is now taking the lead of this group and run away a little bit. Optics now leads the group with KXI breathing down his nose and giving him a little bit of tap on the gearbox for good measure, and trying to go down the inside. Now, Jimmy is now dropping back in the field. Now I'm wondering if it is Jimmy with the issue. Please excuse me, I'm just trying to work out what's going on here as he tries to go around the outside of Optics. I mean, yeah, Jimmy kind of deserved what was coming there, I'm not going to lie. Jimmy's pushed him 2-3 laps in a row off, and I don't think Optics had anywhere else to go there. So let's have a look. Front wing is not intact for either driver, in fact, and a VSC out. I'm just going to keep an eye on what is going on here. That I don't quite understand that personally. That was just I don't know. Jimmy's just given up in this race. Is my verdict on it, but we'll have to see. I'll have to watch that back and have another look through after this Grand Prix. In fact, I'm at the point I'm going to rewind it on my other screen just so I can try and work out what has gone on. In the meantime, we're going to keep an eye on the battle coming up here. Mikey is closing on Spencer Milton in the AlphaTauri. And virtual safety car has gone as well. Where is Spencer? Closing up on the McLaren Viper as well. Rudy is still leading, by the way. 1.7 gap now out front. Obviously with 3-second time penalty as well to be taken there. Yeah, I'll just look back at that. I mean, Jimmy didn't need to move across, and well, he shouldn't have. As simple as that, he should not have moved across at that point. So I do think the penalty will be going that way. However, optics in response, I think the response going across may not have been the correct response from the cockpit. But we'll see. And Rudy is out of the Grand Prix from the lead. He was out there all alone. What has happened to our race leader? There he is on the way into the pit lane. He's hit the pit entry, and that has released the safety car out. He was doing absolutely superb out there. A great strategy. Great lap on the medium tyre in qualifying. See him up into third place with the strategy options wide open, and he's ended up binning it on the way into the pit lane. What a turnaround we're seeing in this Grand Prix here. Optics now on a new set of medium tyres. He just pit obviously because of damage from the very controversial incident, and I'm sure that will be investigated by the race stewards after the Grand Prix. Just going to hope everyone gets through the safety car before the leader picks the safety car up. Yeah, optics will. Yeah, optics. Who's that? Jimmy as well. Right, so these two are going to come to be racing together again. Let's try and keep it clean this time, gentlemen. Optics and Jimmy going to be racing side by side for the restart. KC's car, by the way, is still going around in circles. It has got a red X on it. It is now a car that is not in this Grand Prix. The car and game has decided it will just keep the car in there for good measure. Right then, so to give a rundown, because that's completely switched the order up once again. Donaldson took front row start and second place for the start of this Grand Prix. Now heading into the pit lane, in fact, from the lead of the Grand Prix. So let's see what he does. I'm going to presume a set of mediums to the end at this point. It's a little bit of a tall order for the soft tyre, and yeah, it certainly is. I am Zach, also going on to medium tyres. Mikey stays out to take provisional lead of this Grand Prix. Now, the only issue we're going to have is the fact that Pro Stevie is a ghosted car, not in control, that now leads this Grand Prix. The issue being with that is we don't know when the restart is actually going to happen. It could be a very last minute one, it could be very early. We expect it to be a very steady pace, but this could benefit Mikey if he can get that Mercedes behind him in the run down to turn 1 on the restart. It really could pay him dividends at the end. And both Alfa Romeos, just to add to that, running P1, P2 here as well. So credit where credit is due. Alfa Romeo looking very, very good indeed to take the top of the championship tonight in the constructors. At the minute, just 10 points behind Mercedes, and as Pro Stevie has not been driving, he will not receive points. And Jimmy is outside the points at the minute, so will be a non-scorer as it stands. Obviously, still going to have around 11 or 12 laps of racing to go after this. I'm Zach in the Williams in P4, then Nasol Williams still running around, which is effectively P3. So all these guys are effectively a position up. So Mikey is leading. Donaldson in second, that's a 1-2 Alfa Romeo, effectively. Williams in third place there for I'm Zach. Effectively on the road would be fourth and fifth, would be the two AlphaTauris, which have had a bit of a hard start to the Grand Prix through qualifying. However, been very quiet, getting on with their own races, and now Alex Ham started in 4th place, is now in 5th place, and Spencer Milson starting down towards the back end of the grid up in 6th. So good progress there for the AlphaTauri team in terms of points. Viper then in 7th place for McLaren, 7 points on McLaren's clock so far. We keep mentioning it, but they are so far off the pack at the minute, 21 points behind the next constructor, which is Haas on 28 points, and they're certainly not going to score tonight because no cars are racing for Haas this evening. So any points that McLaren can score could well put them up towards their rivals. They'll definitely close that gap on the rivals. Viper currently sat 20th in the driver's standings on 6 points. A couple of points there would seem above Frenzy, depending where Frenzy does finish. Frenzy on 8 points at the minute, just in front. Keon Stevens, the leader, Red Bulls at the minute then in P8 and on fresh soft tyres, hoping to take them to the end. And same for KXI in the Ferrari. Very, very bold from these gents. They're hoping to get it done on the restart, but we'll see how that plays out for him. Personally, I'd be quite happy with the medium tyre. Frenzy there, just hanging on to the final position as we stand, and now the only Aston Martin in the Grand Prix after his teammate caused this particular safety car. Optics in P11 with Jimmy in P12. We'll keep a very close eye on these two as the restart happens. Just check all is in order and that they're both behaving themselves. As Optics dives into AI, and I half expect a comment to come up on the stream. And safety car in this lap. There we go then, safety car will now pull away. Obviously, please ignore the Mercedes at the front. The Mercedes at the front has not been active in this Grand Prix. It just happens to be there, so please ignore it. Effectively, everyone is one place up on what it does say on the left-hand side of your screens. When is Mikey effectively going to take it? Is he going to go when the Mercedes goes? I believe he would. And he certainly has. He's going to want to get past that stricken Mercedes pretty quick here, just so it's not hindering him, and also give him a little bit of a gap behind as well. Yellow flag sector 1. There is a car off there, and Optics is out of this Grand Prix. What? I don't even want to envisage what's just happened, to be completely honest, knowing who was around that area. And I will be looking towards some of the footage from that, because I didn't get to catch it, looking at the battle up front. And there's the stricken Red Bull right in the middle of the pit exit. And I really do think that I could probably tell you exactly who that had involved. Just checking other cars around. Yeah, there's no one with damage that I can see looking up and down the order. Yeah, I'm struggling to find anyone with damage, so I'm quite interested to see what exactly happened there, as we do see the Mercedes driver of Jimmy on the back of the McLaren now trying to get through after mistake from the Mercedes driver tonight, and it's certainly not gone in his favour with 10 laps to go. And Pro Stevie into the pits, which is the AI car, so that's good. It's out of the way of the rest of the runners now, if Spencer can get around in time. Not quite sure what's caused Spencer to be so far back either. Maybe he was involved in that incident. Just going to see if he's got any damage. No, he hasn't, so that is bizarre. Front wing end plate gone there for Keon Stevens as well, so something's going on, and I'm going to take a wild bet. I want to stay on board here with Jimmy, because he's also suddenly dropped a lot of time to Viper. So something is going on, and I'll be keeping an eye out as he approaches any other cars this evening. Right then, away from the negative and back to the positive. I do apologise, it gets a little bit like that when you're in such a race. We're going to take away the tyre deltas and just keep an eye on everything else now. So let's look at the penalties and keep the penalties up. Obviously we are into the last stages of this Grand Prix. Mikey has lost the lead to his teammate Donald Junt, who has now retaken the lead of this Grand Prix. 8/10 clear of his teammate. I'm Zach, breathing down the neck of the Alfa Romeos and wanting to make progress through for these final stages of the Grand Prix. Alex Ham 1.2 seconds off the pace at this moment in time. KXI in 5th place, 6/10 back from Alex Ham in the Ferrari, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Ferrari going for the DRS on this lap and really trying to make a push on the AlphaTauri. As we say that, he takes it round and the Ferrari takes the front wing out. I'm surprised he didn't wipe the car out, to be honest, and looking for a safe time to rejoin the track. And as I say all that, talk about a commentator's curse, perfectly timed. That is absolutely devastating for KXI. He was having such a good race, and safety car, really? Okay, believe it or not, there is a safety car coming out for that incident. Don't think personally it warrants a safety car, but there you go. So safety car out, and I would expect to see practically everyone now in for soft tyres. Is anyone going to stay out there and take the advantage of the tyres they've got to the end? Mikey there on 10 lap old mediums, be pretty certain to see him in. And I'd expect his teammate probably to stay out and do a split strategy, to be completely honest. If his teammate does go in, it really is going to cost Mikey and the team. So I do think the best bet for Alfa Romeo is for Donovan to stay out there and see it through to the end. He's got the pace on those medium tyres, but maybe he wants the fastest lap as well. Not entirely sure who's got the fastest lap actually, so we'll have a little look at that while we've got a moment. Fast lap is Rudy, a 1:37.3, and he is out of this Grand Prix for the time being. Is he going to pit? Yes, he is. So he's going to. No, he's going to stay out. I think he's worked out what's going on with his teammate there. I do think that's a very good option for a team point of view. They will be able to take the lead of the championship as it stands at the moment, and by quite some margin as well. I'm Zach then. Has he stayed out? No, he's into the pits. Viper is in the McLaren, although he might be a sit and duck to some of these on the soft tyre. How much do you want to take track position around here? Well, he's in a very good place here. He's currently running 2nd place in this Grand Prix, and that is an outstanding performance for him in this race. He's kept it cool, clean, kept out of trouble when there's been trouble absolutely everywhere, as it seemed tonight. It's been one of those days. We get them from time to time, but yeah, well done Viper for getting so far up. And yeah, you might be sitting duck to a couple of these guys behind, Mikey, Zach, Alex Ham, but if you finish in those top 6, credit where it's due, that would be an absolutely brilliant performance for yourself and for McLaren this evening. In fact, to finish 6th or higher, it would more than double what your team has earned in points for the entire season so far. So that's how big a deal that would be. In fact, it would put you right on the back of the Haas team in terms of points if you finished in the top 4. But we'll leave that one there for your thoughts to ponder over. Anyone watching want to put a bet on who's going to win the Grand Prix? Right now, honestly, right now, I think I might put money on Mikey. Looking around, Zach, Mikey, very even pace, fresh soft tyres. Donovan stayed out on the mediums. I do think it will be an Alfa Romeo 1-2, but I do think they're going to be switched around on pace. But we'll have to wait and see. I do think Mikey might just have the edge on tyres though for this restart and the final part of the Grand Prix. 7, 8, 9 of you watch. Well, we've got 9 watching at the minute, so yeah, drop in, let us know who you think is going to win the Grand Prix. Obviously, safety car out for another lap, so got a little bit of time to take your bets. There will be 6 laps of racing then when they cross the start finish line and the track goes green, presumably at the end of this lap. That is all based on it being at the end of this lap. So who stayed out then? So Viper and Donald John there, the front runners, both on medium tyres used there, as you can see on the graphic. Viper does also have a penalty as well. Let's just see what that penalty is. It is a 3-second penalty. Yeah, that could cost him. In fact, didn't quite see that one early. But then saying that, from 7th downwards, yeah, I think top 6 is still on. Jimmy there, 3-second penalty as well, so he'd have to pass Viper to get past. And Keon Stevens, 6-second time penalty there. Could see him to the back of the grid and outside of the points, in fact, running 9th at the minute. Spencer is trying to catch up. He's getting there, 22 seconds back, obviously reduced pace at the minute, so he'll be catching up pretty quick, you'd expect. Considering the fact that Delta isn't coming down, though, is a bit odd, I must say, but we'll see. And obviously time for others to also get penalties in this Grand Prix still. Obviously, we won't be looking at these liveries for much longer, nor will we be looking at this designer car, so very, very different we expect 2022 to be. And next month we do see the winter testing begin, which will be quite nice. Obviously all teams staying the same, but some title sponsors are changing. Ferrari and Mission Minnow are disappearing, and it will be Santander back for another stint as title sponsor for the Ferrari team. Oh, might have some new evidence on the what happened earlier on. We're just going to watch this restart though first of all and see how we get on. So Mikey taking it away then. And Viper there just getting a little bit out of sorts, and Mikey not going to be looking for a second invitation on those soft tyres. He's going to be wanting to dispatch the McLaren pretty fast, and you can see how close he is getting already as Zach and Alex Ham behind, both having a fight of their own. Mikey there looking down the inside of the McLaren, and Alex Ham looking down the inside of the Williams, and he goes through for the time being. Mikey there trying to go down the inside of Viper. Will he do it? He will. And obviously on the brakes, who's going to take it on the brakes? Yeah, Mikey through, and that is Alfa Romeo back in 1 and 2. These guys behind still fighting as well, 3 abreast now as they go down the second DRS straight. Obviously no DRS at this moment in time. And who do we focus on at this moment in time? There we go. We're going to ride on board from Jimmy's perspective. There we go, and it all stays the same for the time being. Zach has also picked up a 3-second time penalty in the midst of all that as well. So it's certainly not going to help him on his way for a podium position this evening. And it actually means Viper is looking even more secure to have a good finish here, considering that a couple of those behind would have to get past him and not just rely on that 3-second time penalty. Alex Ham trying to go up the inside of Viper. Viper going wheel to wheel with Zach. And yeah, Viper just losing a little bit there, and he is dropped back down. Now KXI right on his gearbox as well, and giving him a bit of a nudge there. KXI, and probably not expecting him to brake quite so early, but a little bit of a sitting duck there. Viper at this moment in time, as this is going to turn into a fascinating battle now. However, top 3 do not have time penalties. 4th, 5th, 6th all have time penalties. how is that going to affect the result? Well, it could mean those three all disappear down the road, and Alex Ham has been passed by Zach there, and we didn't quite catch that, so that was a little bit gutting. We didn't see that. Although, yes, again, more going on in the background. KXI looking at the pass on the McLaren, and Viper really pushing him right to the limits to make KXI back out there. KXI didn't really have much choice, but Viper well within his right to do that, as he just about had a car length in hand at the time. And yeah, Viper he got to be a little bit careful there on the moving across in the high speed corners like that, but just about within limits. And KXI then going to try and have a look surely into turn one, and nearly braking a little bit too late there. KXI gets certainly very close to the back of Viper, and he goes round, gives Viper a bit of a nudge again. And Viper, you cannot, yeah, Viper, that's a bit naughty. That you need to give a car's width. That certainly wasn't a car's width, and if KXI really wanted to, I'm sure he would be able to report that, but I don't think he's going to do that. I think he'll go round and just wait for DRS to open if he hasn't managed to do so in overtaking by that point, as he tried to go down the inside of the McLaren driver, and I think he's done it on the exit. He certainly has. Viper looking there to defend and nearly gets caught out. Viper is coming back, but KXI there with the DRS, and he's going to get tag teamed here a little bit, and Aston Martin round the outside. Absolutely great move there by Frenzy, but just backing out of it to make sure there wasn't a collision caused, and DRS wide open. Frenzy gets a better exit as well, and back around the McLaren he goes, and you would expect this to be job done. Is he going to manage it round the outside? Yeah, he will in the second phase, part of the corner, won't he, surely? Yeah, there we go, and Frenzy is through. Viper a little bit deep in the corner, nearly went into the side pod of Frenzy there, but just about got away without causing any damage. And we've got a battle going on back here as well. They are both not in the race, in fact, so please ignore that. So 8th place is in fact last place in this Grand Prix as it stands then. Keon, Pro TV and Casey all not in the Grand Prix itself. Jimmy then in P4, great recovery from what was earlier a little bit of disaster going on for him. Just had some new footage sent in by Optics as well regarding the safety car restart, so just going to have a little bit of a look there. And in fact, it looks like Optics was trying to go down the inside at turn 2, down the inside of the Aston Martin of Frenzy there. Frenzy gave him just enough width, but as Optics comes round, it looks like he's clipped the curb, run a bit of curb, and it's pulled him into the wall there. So it wasn't anything from the previous between Jimmy and Optics. It looked like a racing incident, fault of his own, although that looked a little bit more than a racing incident, just as we were talking about him. Let's have a look. No damage caused at that point, is there? Just look at his front wings as they come round. No, all good at the minute. What a race we're having in terms of incidents. I've never seen quite so many incidents in one part of the race. Alex Hamnet picking up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings as well. That was not Jimmy's fault, in fact. Looking at that one as well, just looking back, that looked like Zach did not leave him a car's width on the inside there. So I'm Zach playing it very, very dangerous on that corner. Not had many opportunities where I've needed to go back and double look at footage, but certainly having to do that tonight. Jimmy now in a great place with DRS advantage on the AlphaTauri, and he should dispatch the AlphaTauri now pretty easily. That 3-second time penalty is there still, and Lumen, they want to make a bit of a push to get beyond and well out of the way of KXI. Just 2 laps left to go. KXI there 3.8 seconds behind Alex Ham. If he can get into that window, he would be laughing. That free opportunity for some extra places. Viper down in 9th place, Frenzy down in 10th. These guys are still running in the Grand Prix. But Casey, Keon and Pro Stevie are not in the Grand Prix, so don't worry too much about them on the graphic. So Viper and Frenzy would move up 2 places apiece with Pro Stevie and Keon in front. Jimmy, 3-second time penalty, and that is really not going to help him now. That pushes him back below Alex Ham unless he can stretch his legs on this final lap. He's got 1 more lap to really go for it. He's trying to make sure he doesn't pick up another penalty there, and he has got to find 1.4 seconds to the AlphaTauri driver behind, so this has got to be a quali lap. As we say that as well, KXI just 0.3 of a second off the AlphaTauri. KXI could well pick up not 1 but 2 places if he can get within that window. And I think he might have clocked onto it. He is now pushing. KXI is really going for it. Don Arjun and Mikey out front then. Both Alfa Romeos running 1 and 2. And they've had an absolutely fantastic race out there. But I think Donaldson's had a little bit of a lonely race. Mikey's had quite a bit of work to do, and just not got caught up in too much of the drama throughout the race. So fair play to him for that. KXI coming through into the final section. Nothing impression to get any positions. It doesn't look like he has, in fact. Got close enough. I think he's fallen away about a second on that lap. I'm not entirely sure why, because he was well on track to take 2 positions there. But fair enough. But we will join on board for the check flag, and Donald John there in the Alfa Romeo taking the top spot on the podium this evening. Mikey coming across for P2, Zach in P3, Jimmy P4, which drops to P5 as Alex Ham goes into P4 due to time penalties. KXI takes P6 this evening. Ferrari Pro Stevie will not be classified as non-racer, nor will Keon Stevens. So Viper will in fact be P7 for this evening in the McLaren. P8 would be Frenzy when he does manage to finish his lap. So Viper, Pro Stevie, Keon and Casey will not be classified in the results due to not actually racing. So Viper will be pushed up to 7th and Frenzy up to P8 as the last actual driver to cross the line to finish that was in control of their car. Well, there's quite a bit of controversy going on in that Grand Prix, and quite a lot going on throughout the grid. Driver of the day from the game, Mikey, and you know what, I think on this occasion I might actually agree on the game. He did do a very good job to get all the way up to P2. I wasn't expecting him to get quite so far up. Obviously there were safety cars in there which came at the right time, but staying out of the trouble can be one of the biggest things for you during a Grand Prix. And there you go then, Alfa Romeo 1 and 2, something you don't see every day, and well, you never know what you might see next season in 2022. But for the time being, your podium, both Alfa Romeos and the Williams of I'm Zach.